our town. Monmouth, Illinois, USA. Yes, this is our town, a city of changes, a city where progress is the keynote. Monmouth is the county seat of Warren County and has a population of over 10,000. Monmouth was a striving city even back as far as 1870, when William S. Weir built this mansion. At the time of its construction, it cost $12,000. Many of the old landmarks, such as this home, have been torn down to make room for newer, more efficient buildings. Space is essential, and these sprawling old mansions have no place in modern Monmouth. Tradition must give way to the dictates of progress, and every speck of space must be utilized to its fullest advantage to keep pace with the ever-growing city. All over the city you will see changes to this one, where giant trees bow their heads and humbly step out of the picture as the city of Monmouth surges forward toward an ever greater future. These old trees could tell you the history of Monmouth, of the days following the War of 1812, when it was a military tract farmed by men who had fought for their country. Some of these trees arched over Indian encampments, saw Indian attacks planned and made. They saw the soldiers discharged from the army cutting down their companion trees and turning the land into farms. They saw the great settlers come, and they watched the city struggle through hardships and grow. They winced as they saw other trees turned into logs for the new post office in 1831. And in the year 1853, they saw a new Presbyterian church constructed and the birth of Monmouth College. They watched the city increase in size, saw industries move in, and old landmarks raised. And now they too must go, for progress is a cruel dictator, and even gigantic trees must bend to her will. The middle 20th century introduces a new style of architecture for the home, and in the section of the city lying south of Monmouth College, this ultra-modern home is being erected. A city that is founded with a college as its background is sure to have an excellent school system, and Monmouth is no exception. This is the center of the city's business district, the city square where stands the Warren County Courthouse and the Monmouth City Hall. Monmouth's young people learn civic government firsthand. This group has just visited the police station where they have heard a discussion of traffic regulations in the city. They also learn about the business houses in their city, and frequently you'll find a group visiting the Strand Bakery, where 32 varieties of bakery products are made. Here we see a few of these bakery items. Swedish rye bread is one of the favorites with the customers. Charlie Strand, with his brother Oscar, founded the bakery in 1908. Early deliveries were made on a bicycle. Now the milk, the flour, salt, and other ingredients are mixed in this huge mixer. One batch of dough will make several hundred loaves of bread or thousands of rolls. The man who operates this machine must be very skilled, for the dough is flung from the machine with tremendous force. The truck is rolled to a special chute in the flour. Care must be taken that the dough does not pop back into the truck, for it is very elastic at this time. The chute leads the dough to the shaping machines. One chute channel leads to the machine that forms loaves of bread. The machine has been set to cut the loaves into a smaller size for this specific run. In 1 hour, 2,000 loaves of bread are shaped, kneaded, and rounded for baking. What would grandmother say about her long hours of bread making if she could see machines like these? Grandmother called it putting the bread to raise, but the modern bakers call it proofing. And this operation is carried out by an overhead proofing belt. It takes the dough 8 1/2 minutes to travel the full length of the room and back on the proofing belt. At the end of this trip, they are flattened and finished by hand and sent to the ovens for baking. The loaves are baked as they travel up and down through the oven. The bread is taken from the oven in the same order as it was put into it. As soon as the bread has been sufficiently cooled, it's sent to the slicing machine where fast-moving knife blades rapidly cut the loaves into neat, even slices. All rye, whole wheat, and other dark breads are wrapped in cellophane with a colored band for easy identification. The Strand Bakery special, called dinner pail bread, has its own gaily designed wrapper. Strand Bakery trucks travel an approximate 300,000 miles in a year. There are 40 employees, and their years of service total 728. One of the employees, Ernie Kettering, has been with the company for over 45. Monmouth has both new and old homes. Many of the older homes have been completely remodeled but still retain their old lines. Some of them were constructed in the early 70s. Other homes are very new with ultra-modern lines. Monmouth is a city that's headed for a big future. Right now, excavation work is in progress at the country club and golf course. The city has outgrown the old clubhouse, and it must be expanded to make room for additional facilities. The ground beneath it is being dug away, and soon locker rooms will be built there. The golf course attracts many, and the clubhouse is inadequate to accommodate a very large group. The Monmouth Women's Golf League is very active. The course is a 6,000-yard one with a tough par 34. The fairways are kept in excellent condition under the supervision of Clarence Trotter. He has been at the club for 3 years and instructs several classes of amateur golfers. He has also been instrumental in forming several younger groups of golfers, and every summer brings a new crop of golfers to the course. However, the rolling hills make the course suitably difficult for the interested golfer. And here's Clarence Trotter with one of his golf protégés. It takes a lot of practice to develop a real golfing technique, and this fellow is hard at work at it. It's try and try again with many hours of practicing before the perfect stroke is finally developed. This is Alice Emsley and Joyce Logan, two experienced young golfers. Their amateur days are over, and they know what they're doing when they step out on the green. They are just two of Monmouth's many women golfers. Tonight marks the opening of the Monmouth Country Club. It's the annual dance celebrating the opening of the summer season of festivities and the election of the club's new president, Richard Lamoureux. An unusual situation caused the fuses to go out during the dance, and the guests spent about an hour dancing in the dark. But for this gay, light-hearted crowd, it only added to the merriment of the occasion. The evening was cool and pleasant, and the guests sat at their tables enjoying their favorite refreshments or danced to the excellent music provided by the orchestra. Every country club member looks forward to one of these dances, for they are very festive occasions. The new club president, Richard Lamoureux, is a former state's attorney and a very popular member of the club. It's good music, good food, and lots of fun at the Monmouth Country Club. One of Monmouth's older businesses is the Warfield Lumber Company. It was founded very shortly after the turn of the century and now has 5 lumber yards, 3 of which are located in Warren County. The Monmouth branch is located adjacent to the CB&Q Railroad line. The Warfield Lumber Company cuts poles to specification for many of their customers, and here you see one of these orders being loaded on a truck for delivery. Yardmaster Sheridan assists Lee Bale with the job. This shipping order also calls for a number of 2x8s, which are now being loaded on the truck. They are on their way to a farm to go into the construction of a new farm building. Here we see Ivan Knapp, a draftsman and manager of the Warfield Lumber Company's sales department, discussing a new building with a customer. Mr. Knapp is always available to offer assistance and advice on building problems. This is the inner office of the concern, where contracts are discussed and all personal business handled in privacy. This is a dome-designed building called a cribiteria, used for feeding small pigs and hogs. It's a portable building and can be moved to any spot where the farmer wants it. This is another dome building, a 6-sow hog house. It's also portable and has individual stalls for each sow. These are used extensively in the Monmouth area. On the Keith Capron farm, we see a dome-designed building that has just been completed. They are actually put together right on the farm. Dome-designed cattle barns are low cost, yet they are well built and arranged to save time and work. This is Paul Warfield inspecting the completed barn. The poles are of the same type that you saw being loaded on the truck. The Warfield Lumber Company also designs and sells special cattle feeding troughs of a size to give proper feeding facilities to any farm. Here we see a herd of beef cattle feeding at one of these specially built troughs, and they are eating corn on the cob. Must be a favorite with the cattle, too. The Monmouth High School Gymnasium is the scene of much activity during the entire school year. It's one of the state's finest gyms and is fully equipped for all sports. It seats over 1,000 spectators. The Monmouth Senior High School has an enrollment of more than 550 pupils, but is equipped to handle any without overcrowding. Regardless of your religious preference, you'll find the church of your choice in Monmouth. This is the first evangelical Lutheran church, which was founded in 1868. The church was remodeled in 1913, as indicated on the plaque. It is an especially attractive piece of architecture and one of the city's landmarks. The city itself has a very religious background, for it grew out of a church and a religious college. This stone marker commemorates the spot where Lincoln addressed a group of people way back in 1858. He was taking part in a senatorial contest. National Guard units from Monmouth have taken part in 3 major wars, and its activity dates back to before the Civil War. At the present time, the Monmouth units include General Warfield's headquarters. He is in command of the Illinois National Guard. Prior to the Spanish-American War, the units answered the calls to the colors as the Illinois State Militia. The Monmouth American Legion is a very active organization and also has a lively 40-8 membership. They take part in every parade and usually keep the spectators particularly hysterical with their antics. However, the Legion and the 40-8 have a serious side too. They promote many civic projects. Seldom does a cemetery rate more than a passing glance, but Monmouth's Memorial Park Cemetery is one that gets a great deal of attention. While many new cemeteries have the same name, this cemetery is an old one with many generations interned here. Memorial Park Cemetery is under the supervision of the mayor and the city council, who appoint a conscientious board of directors to look after cemetery operations. The naturally rough terrain has been carefully landscaped, so the cemetery actually looks like a park more than a burial lot. There are rock gardens, shrubs and trees, and flowers of all kinds, making it one of the most beautiful cemeteries in the state. A crew of gardeners constantly look after the grounds, keeping them in perfect condition. The American Legion and Civil War markers dot the cemetery, indicating the number of war veterans in Monmouth's past. Many of them died in the service of their country. Others returned home, lived out their full lifespan, and were buried with military honors befitting a soldier who fought well for his country. The Monmouth City Park is adjacent to the Memorial Park Cemetery. It covers several hundred acres of ground with rolling hills, giant shade trees, and places to rest and relax. The natural terrain of the park grounds makes it ideal for an all-day outing. Just as they work hard, the people of Monmouth play hard, and this park is one of their favorite playgrounds. All summer long you'll find groups holding weenie roasts and picnics, going on hikes through the hills, and enjoying the great out-of-doors. The older part of the city, which is the part surrounding the college campus and the city square, is dotted with new homes and businesses. Right at the moment, the Monmouth Fire Department has plenty to do, but ordinarily there are very few fires. They have an excellent fire prevention program, and it has reduced the number of fires to a bare minimum. There are 6 full-time firemen under the supervision of Chief Robert Watson, who wrenched his shoulder in this fire. The department has 3 trucks, 2 of which are pumpers, capable of pumping 750 gallons a minute. The squad car equipment contains a resuscitator, oxygen cylinders that are ready for any emergency. All equipment is checked regularly to make sure it is in perfect condition. At the firehouse, everything stands in readiness at all times in the event a fire should break out. The living quarters are above the fire station and have bedrooms, lounge, and reading rooms. Boots and trousers are lined up ready for momentary action. When a fire breaks out, these firemen are ready to go at the first call with no delays to give the fire a chance to get ahead of them. Martin Airways Incorporated, operating out of the Monmouth Airport, is engaged in spraying fields with insecticides. Field spraying jobs have made this Piper Cub plane well known throughout the entire farming area of United States. Many forms of insecticide powders are used, including the well-known DDT. Don Kivens and John Locke are loading the hopper with insecticide preparatory to a field spraying flight. The hopper holds 400 pounds, and jobs take from 10 to 35 pounds per acre. The plane is now preparing to take off on a local spraying flight. Weather, wind, and ceiling are carefully checked, and the plane rolls down the runway, leaving a smoke screen of insecticide behind it. For spraying work, the plane flies very close to the ground, so all the insecticide is sprayed onto the field, and none is lost in the air. The Monmouth Airport is 3,200 feet from north to south, 2,800 feet east to west. There are 2 large hangars that were originally built for the local National Guard Air Division. At the present time, they house planes owned by many of the leading Monmouth businessmen who find flying a more efficient method of making business trips. Herb Elliott and John Gallagher of Davenport have just landed their twin-engine Beechcraft, and the landing was a wee bit rough. Evidently, they didn't expect those strong wind currents so close to the ground. At almost any hour of the day or night, when the flying weather is good, you will find planes coming in for a landing or taking off from the Monmouth Airport. Driving back to the city from the airport, you pass by many lovely homes similar to this one. The lawns are trimmed and neat, and there are friendly-looking flower gardens here and there, and very often you see a neat vegetable garden, too, for Monmouth's climate is excellent for a gardening hobby. It's a very neat and clean city with homes that bespeak the pride of their owners. Almost every family has a car, and many of them come from the Thompson Motor Company, Monmouth's Buick and Pontiac dealer. This is one of the older business establishments in the city, founded by the father of one of its present owners, Harold G. Thompson. Lubrication is only a small part of servicing a car, but a very important part if the car is to operate smoothly. Another feature of Thompson's motor service is the porcelainizing finish they apply to preserve the original paint job. All Buick and Pontiac cars leaving Thompson's have already had this finish applied, but the service is available to anyone. The mechanics at Thompson Motor are like your doctor. They examine the faulty car engine, diagnose the trouble, and repair it. Another service feature is brake relining. Thompsons are as quick to help a stranger in distress as one of their regular customers that stop in for all automotive repairs. And this has helped them to make friends all over the country. This is Harold G. Thompson, whose father founded the business. In the background, you see the well-stocked parts department under the supervision of Wayne Haas. The parts department works closely with the service department, supplying all parts needed for repair work. The used car division of the Thompson Motor Company is a very large department, handling used cars of all makes, models, and ages. The lot usually contains 100 or more cars, so the selection is always good for the person who wants a less expensive car. Salesmen for the new and used car departments are J.L. Norgart, Charlie Lister, and Bob Clark. They're always on hand to help you select the best car to fit your needs. And so we leave the city of Monmouth. It's been nice having you with us, and we hope you'll stop by our town sometime soon. Monmouth, Illinois, USA. Yes, this is our town.